Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby, and I wanted to share with you today simple girly makeup. We're being sold so many things on the internet of like this next new thing and this greatest thing ever, and you're just spending your money on a bunch of stuff when like you're simple. You don't want a bunch of product. You just want to know what works. You want somebody to tell you what to buy. So just trust me because none of this is sponsored. I just genuinely wanted to share with you things that change the game for me, that just make my skin look like this glowy, dewy, radiant, natural, like an everyday makeup look for all seasons, for all skin types. It's by far the best foolproof routine that I could possibly give you. So if you'd like to see how I got this makeup look, just keep watching. Starting off strong, Naked Sundays, everything from them, SPF, I cannot get enough. I think that they have the best sunscreen products on the market because they just have such a broad spectrum of like broad, get it, SPF. I love it so much because they just have so many options like serums and glows. This is their Cabana Clear Serum, and I love it underneath my makeup for multiple reasons. One, it doesn't change the effect of your makeup, but rather just kind of like hydrates your skin really gently. Give it a minute to let it do its thing, and then I go in with my next step. This is a product favorite. I got this recently and I have not stopped using it. It's so beautiful under especially foundations. If I'm wearing like a skin tint or a slip or something that's more like a BB cream, I wouldn't necessarily put this underneath of it, only for foundations because you don't really need it. Those slip tints and things like that are already so hydrating and dewy that this underneath of it is just kind of like overkill in my opinion. It's not glittery, but it gives your skin a really nice reflective shine that's not wet or sweaty or uncontrollable, if that makes sense. So if you're somebody that has oily skin, obviously this is in various levels, but I would say moderately low oily skin people will be able to tolerate this because it is like a really nice moisturizer is what it feels like, but on the skin it just looks really dewy. And I think throughout the day, if you keep a good powder with you, you should be able to control that. I also love it too because this is a non-toxic product. We love non-toxic. Foundation today, I'm going to be super light-handed with this. Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation, SPF 15 by Bobbi Brown. And I am in color N042 Beige. If you have a foundation that's not your perfect color, it's really hard to get it to look like your skin. You know, it could look muddy if it's too dark, but this is just perfect. And I love how it just glides on the skin like butter. It's just so nice. And it's not greasy at all. It's not like too wet, and it just lays beautifully, and it doesn't look like there's anything on my skin but just like an even complexion. Also, side note, I really love using this Say brush to blend in foundations. It's very, very forgiving and it goes a long way. I think it's called the Big Brush. And on top of that, I'm just gonna do a quick little beauty blend because that's just how I like to blend in my foundations. I like them to look like they're part of my skin and not part of a layer on top of my skin. Like in the broad daylight, I want to be able to go out in the sun and talk to somebody in confidence and know that my makeup isn't just like sitting on top or looking too dry and cakey in certain areas. With that being said, this is my favorite foundation for all skin types. I feel like it covers all the bases, and it's SPF 15 and it's full coverage and oil-free shine control. Perfection. So this is a lip buff from Refi, and I love to just kind of go along my lips, give it a nice exfoliation before going in with any product. And I just let this serum kind of like sit in while I do the rest of my makeup. If you struggle with your under eyes and you have not tried this yet, please do so. I don't care what age you are. This is perfect for everyone. It's a color corrector, and this is in Transforming Porcelain Beige by IT Cosmetics, and it is called Bye Bye Redness. And the point of this is to just cancel out any of that discoloration under your eyes so that you're left with a really beautiful hydrated under eye look. It just makes them go away, and then you don't need to wear as much concealer. Look at this, I don't have any concealer on at all, and this is how much it already corrects, and it's so hydrating. If you don't struggle with your under eyes, or if you don't have dry under eyes, I guess you don't really need this, but for me, she's an absolute must for any day. While everything sets, I'm going to use my brow pomade from e.l.f. hated it at first, like truly despised, because I used way, 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 way too much. So I'm just going to use the tiniest bit. I'm just going to give them a quick lift. And it really does work. But let me tell you, this stuff is so potent. But if you want an affordable, like really works on your brows kind of gel, this little e.l.f. one is like the most budget friendly one you can get. And it really does work. It's just quite strong. So be careful and use the way less than you think you do. Otherwise you'll have very, very laminated brows. This Kosas concealer is like one size fits all. Their color range is incredible. It's clean, non-toxic beauty. It has worked its way to being my #1 top concealer on the market, like that I've ever used, because it's just so buildable and so clean, and you don't need to even set this. Like it pretty much just lays perfectly on the skin, and you don't need to add that much either because a little bit goes a long way. But again, it doesn't look cakey at all. It just truly so amazing. And this Hourglass concealer brush is like money. I usually just use my fingers to blend my under eyes, but this brush just like gets it everywhere that you possibly need it to go. And it doesn't take away the product either, but just like, I don't know, it just feathers it out so beautifully. I want you to see. And it's really easy to get that concealer up into the inner corners of your eyes, where it can be hard for me, especially with my nails, to get between my eyes. So recommend that. Kosas concealer, I am in 2.6C, and I feel like it's just like the perfect brightening color for my under eyes. You guys are well aware of my love for the Saie bronzer in light bronze. It is so pretty, and it's my favorite bronzer color that I've ever owned. And it just goes on beautifully, especially with this Mario brush. And this is a F1 brush. Just making sure that I get some of that color up onto my forehead because my body has a tanner on and my face does not. Oh, and I wanted to talk about my new favorite tanner right now. And it's the Isle of Paradise, and it's in a mousse, and it's like the darkest one. I think it's in like a light purple bottle, and it dries clear. You leave it on overnight, it doesn't transfer on anything, and you're just left with this really beautiful tan. It's not as dark as my Bondi Sands ones that I like so much, but it really does the job, and I love that it doesn't transfer on everything. If I were you and you were going to invest in a new cream bronzer, just trust me when I say the one from Saie is really, really, really freaking good and non-toxic. We love. For blush, I feel like this Patrick Ta combo has worked its way to being one of my favorite blushes of all time for multiple reasons. #1, it's so pigmented. #2, I like that it doesn't come out like the Rare Beauty ones where it's like a cream on your hand. You have to work with this cream and like blend it in a lot. I actually have it right here. I love this blush so much, but it is kind of more annoying to work with, and I feel like this one is really nice because you can blend it in with your fingers if you're on the go. It's compact if you're gonna go to the beach or something. It's just like a really nice way to just like go in and a tiny bit of blush, and plus this color is in She's That Girl, and she is that girl. I feel so confident when I wear this blush. It truly is one of my favorites. Now, I don't want to tell you to go out and buy a new eyeshadow palette because I truly think you can get a good eyeshadow color with just using your blush and your bronzer. But I do like to go in with a little neutral crease almost always, just to kind of, set down that concealer that we used as our base. Just like a tiny bit here. Don't go out and buy a new palette. I'm sure whatever you have works. I don't think that the crease color being a certain tone or shade really makes that big of a difference, especially if we're trying to be simple girlies. I'm sure you have an eyeshadow palette that will work perfectly fine. Now, this is not a product where I'm going to say you could get it, you don't need it. This is a product you need. Like, this is so freaking good. It's from Rare Beauty. This is in color True Brown, and I love to just gently tightline my eyes like this, and I'm going to show you the before and after. And also, if you want to give yourself a wing that's just kind of soft and muted and blend it out, this is so freaking easy to use. but this Kosas concealer did not crease at all that entire time I just did all that other stuff. Like again, I really do not even need to set it if I didn't want to, but you know, we're going to, just a tiny, tiny touch. We're gonna use our favorite little powder puff and the Hourglass Veil translucent powder. And I just press that in, press that in. Got this really beautiful new brush from Hourglass, and it's just like an all over powder brush. So I just kind of like throw a tiny bit of this all over. For brows, we might as well just keep it in the e.l.f. world, and I have this pencil from them that I actually really love. And I have very expensive high-end brow pencils, but I find that this one just does such a good job. I don't see anything wrong with it. Again, I feel like there are just so many areas that you can actually cut the costs of makeup. Like foundations, maybe worth investing in. There are some really good drugstore foundations that I've been testing lately, so I'm gonna make another video on that very soon. This eyeshadow crayon from Jouer is the most beautiful, subtle eyelid shimmer that's not glittery, that just looks so just like fairy-like, you know, just a little bit of it, like a dreamscape kind of eye look. Quick little lash curl with my Shiseido lash curler because it's the best. If you're gonna pick up one mascara, I recommend it being the Hourglass one. Hourglass Unlocked Instant Extension Mascara. It is so freaking pretty and natural and not clumpy. I've also really been loving hardly any mascara, especially for spring, summer. You really just don't need a lot, you know? I bought this from Amazon, and it's just a whole pack of these little tiny spooglies, and they like to go in with the mascara wand and just kind of take away some of the spots that are clumpy towards the end. Because again, we want to look like we're not wearing much makeup at all. Plus I feel like the end of eyelashes, if they have too much product on them, they're just like, they actually don't look as long and feathery, they just kind of look heavy. The Hourglass lip liners are my all-time favorite. They're so freaking creamy and beautiful. This is pretty much my perfect lip color. And for somebody who doesn't want to look like they're wearing too much, but they maybe just want to make their lips look a little bit bigger, this is a perfect like overline, natural, hydrating lip that you can wear. Like Hourglass absolutely crushed these liners. This color is Exposure 1, and among the ones that I've tried, this is my favorite. Also from Hourglass, we have these little lippies, and they're so, I cannot. They're so freaking hydrating and pretty. The color of this one is Rouse 180, and as you can see, when I put it on the inside, they're so hydrated, and it just brings that color back in. That was just, they're my favorite. They're my favorite lip thing right now. Truly, they're so hydrating and buttery, and they also have a plumping effect. So I already am starting to feel like that little tingle, but it's not too aggressive. And my lips aren't sticky at all, and they have that really hydrated slip, and this color lasts forever. The color is just so rich and pure. Then it has that really subtle shine, and if I kept going over it more and more, obviously there would be more of a shine, but we're just gonna go like more natural today. Now this is the last thing I'll say. It's a recommendation for people with oily skin. If you do this look and you feel like, oh, it's just gonna go everywhere in like an hour and my skin is just way too oily, get the Charlotte Tilbury. It's like a pressed powder. And I love it because when you put it on your skin like this throughout the day, it just really mattifies without looking too cakey and like you have makeup on. Keep this with you in the car and you should be good to go. And this completes the makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions or requests for other videos. I'm always happy to do things that you request. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.